Good Sunday evening to all of you. Welcome to the SFL Today presented by Press Stats. I am SFL Commissioner and play-by-play commentator Cameron Irvine, joined tonight by the owner of the Chicago Wildcats and who was also on a guest on the podcast this week. He's been a busy man. Shan Varner with us on the SFL Today.
Hey, Cam. Thanks for having me, man.
Oh, it's good for you to be here. Andy Hamilton, my normal host, unavailable this week. No matter, we just keep on trucking. It is not going to be a problem for us. And Shan, we only had 3 games today. It was a light schedule with a big day of action going on tomorrow for Labor Day.
It was explosive. All 3 games were great games, and can't wait to see games later on this week.
Yes, they were, and we start at Budweiser Stadium where someone deserves a shout-out, the St. Louis Gladiators. It wasn't always pretty, but they got their first win of the season, 13-10 in overtime. The win eliminates Carolina, so both Carolina and St. Louis are out of contention. The Eastern Conference is officially now a 6-team race, and we just got done watching it. Shan, your reactions to these 2 teams that have had rough seasons but certainly matched up well today?
Well, Cam, I said previously in the podcast that St. Louis defense really, in the last couple of games, has really come out and played a great game. They just needed to get their offense going a little bit in these games, and today they did so.
Yeah, St. Louis's defense definitely has been steadily improving. The offense is still dead last in the SFL, averaging around 14 points a game, but they didn't really need it today. Colin Douglas with a couple of picks. He's had one on Carolina's first drive. He had one on Carolina's last drive in regulation, funny enough. Adam Fennell, 156 all-purpose yards and a touchdown. There just weren't too many major stats out of this game, but what do you think eventually, Shan, was the difference?
I believe it was Carolina's 3 turnovers, the 3 interceptions that was picked off by St. Louis. I think that was the difference, and Carolina was getting the ball out to English, but those little slant or little swing passes there just wasn't doing it for Carolina. They needed to exploit the defense over the middle a little bit, I think, and unfortunately they couldn't do that.
Well, so St. Louis gets the victory. They leapfrog Carolina, so Carolina falls to the bottom of the Eastern Conference. That is the only meeting between these 2 teams, so St. Louis will hold that tiebreaker firm if they end up tied at the bottom of the East this season. Well, from a 1-win team going down to another 1 team going down, but once again, not without a fight. San Antonio's going to look back at this season and just get the Kleenex, man, because this has just been tragic. San Antonio loses their 4th game, 4 of their 8 losses by 7 points or less, and they missed a field goal late. They had a fumble in the red zone late. San Antonio really could have put this one away a long time ago, but just couldn't make it happen. And Shan, that's what separates championship teams from teams that are just on the brink.
It does, Cam. OKC. San Antonio is coming off that third straight loss there, and it's so hard to depict on what they need to work on, what they don't need to work on. They're so close in these games; it's just hard to depict each scenario. But Alaska is a great defensive team, and so they were top San Antonio tonight.
Well, an odd stat: San Antonio dominating time of possession, but Ashley Odom dominating the game, 249 yards and 3 touchdowns. That man is a menace. And coming into tonight's game, he now is the new league leader in rushing. Obviously, that's not going to stand since Ray Bentley and Kyle Walsh have not hit the field yet. But Odom not slowing down. Alaska almost twice as many rushing yards as passing yards, which is pretty unusual to see. Alaska gets to 6-3, and we'll have more breakdowns of the Western Conference standings tonight on the Game of the Week. Well, Shan, what some may call the second upset of the day, the Oklahoma City Renegades beat the Sioux Falls Sparrows 27-24. And I got to tell you, Shan, give a lot of credit to Oklahoma City, but Sioux Falls just shot themselves in the foot. 4 offside penalties, 5 interceptions. The points off turnover stat does not reflect the punt fumble, or I'm sorry, 4 interceptions, and then the punt return, fumble return for a touchdown. So 17 of Oklahoma City's points coming off of turnovers. Of those 4 interceptions, I think almost all of them were tipped by the either the offensive player or just tipped to somebody else. I mean, Sioux Falls just they played a good game, but man, they just sort of made a mess of it.
Yes, they did. I mean, Brewski had a great game. He had 2 touchdowns, 167 yards, and I think that made the difference because OKC has a great passing game and a great running game, and especially in this game here, the time of possession. With having both of those rushing and passing yards really helped them. And the turnovers, 5 turnovers there obviously helped them in this game.
Hold on just a second. I want to make sure we've got our full audience here on the SFL Today before we hit the game of the week in Canada. Yeah, what strikes me, Shan, is Joseph Redfeather became Alex Smith today. Right. His performance, albeit incredibly pedestrian, also incredibly efficient. 20 of 22 for 146 yards, no touchdowns, no picks. Redfeather coming into the game was 5th in the league in completion percentage with at 70%, or should I say, now that the game is concluded. 11 touchdowns from Redfeather, which is towards the bottom of the league, but only 12 interceptions, which is towards the top of the league. In terms of least amount of picks. So Redfeather keeping the turnover differential to favor Oklahoma City. And here's a stat for you, Shan. Through 9 games, Oklahoma City is now plus 11 in the turnover differential, and that's a big reason why they're still in the playoff hunt.
Absolutely. And it didn't hurt for Brewski to get 30 carries for 167 yards and 2 touchdowns today either.
Yeah, Casper was
getting some work.
Yeah, Casper had 2 picks. Brewski still making it happen, and the Renegades have won 2 in a row after the 5-game skid. So win 2, lose 5, win 2, and it'll be interesting to see what happens with the Renegades and Sparrows, for that matter, moving forward. The Sparrows and Renegades split the season series. Sioux Falls leads the point differential tiebreaker by 10, Shan, 10 points. And with 3 weeks left to go and 6 games factoring into that point differential tiebreaker, that one could get wild down the stretch. Oklahoma City and Sioux Falls, both with some big tests coming up. Sioux Falls takes on Vancouver next week, which could be just an absolute monster game. Oklahoma City goes to Mexico City. That's the toughest game left on their schedule in terms of win-loss record. And the Renegades take on Vancouver in Week 12. That could be for all the marbles there. Pretty wild stuff there in the Western Conference.
It honestly could come down to the wire, Cam.
Yeah. I don't think it's possible for it not to at this point in the Western Conference. It's been pretty crazy.
Not the way that Vancouver's been playing, and Mexico City's getting back on the saddle here, and getting some things done, making things happen.
So, Shan, the SFL Game of the Week coming up. It's Labor Day weekend in the United States and Canada. The BC Lions of the Canadian Football League, the only team not playing here on Labor Day weekend up in the Canadian Football League. So Vancouver has a chance to shine. They're going to be wearing their O Canada uniforms. The redded out star gives you almost sort of a maple leaf look. And Vancouver going all red and white tonight. I'm guessing Mexico City will be wearing their fair share of green. But this game has been a huge game on the schedule for a long time. Week 1, Mexico City kind of took it to Vancouver, but it was a brand new team. Vancouver was just getting their feet wet. This is a whole new Legion team. How do you see this playing out, Shan? And are you brave enough to make a pick here tonight?
I'm going to have to go with probably Mexico City, just the most experience. And, if they get Bentley involved, it's going to be a test of 2 great running backs. but it's going to depend on who gets their running back involved in this game the most, and make those third down completions.
So the winning streak stops tonight, you think? Shan?
Yes.
Yes, the winning streak stops tonight?
Yes.
Okay.
Affirmative.
You cut out. Sorry. I don't know if that was a dramatic pause to just get the viewers riled up or what. But
Mexico City's got it,
Okay. All right. Mexico City's got it. Well, we're just about ready to get set here tonight. Shan, thanks for joining me from Canada.
Yes, sir. As always.
All righty. Thanks so much to Shan Varner and our cast and crew. In a couple of minutes' time, we're live from Legion Field, Vancouver, Canada, Vancouver, British Columbia. The Vancouver Legion, winners of 4 in a row, taking on the 6-2 top of the West, Mexico City Aztecs. It's next on the SFL Network on YouTube. Direct links available through our YouTube channel and through the SFL Alerts page on Discord. For Shan Varner, I'm Cameron Irvine, and we'll see you right around the corner on YouTube, everybody. Let's have a great night. The SFL Today has been a special presentation of the Simulation Football League and the SFL Network.